We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at WGNSradio.com. This is the WGNS Action Line, talking with Rutherford County newsmakers about what matters most to you. Now, your host, Bart Walker.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome into the Action Line from WGNS. Our Vice Mayor is with us this morning. Bill Shacklett's here, and we're going to be catching up on some things that are happening right here in the heart of Tennessee. Yeah, your hometown, Murfreesboro. That's what we're going to be doing today. So if you have any questions for Bill, give us a call, 615-893-1450, 615-893-1450. It's a beautiful day out today. Did you walk over here today, Bill?
No, I didn't, but I certainly walked out the door and went back in and put something else on. It was a little chilly this morning, but I love it.
It's still
great.
48 right now.
It's pretty chilly out there, but I can't promise much this morning. I walked off. I called Rita just a minute ago, and we were talking about leaving home and forgetting things, you know, and she's saying, well, do you have your cell phone? Do you have this and this and this? And I said, yes, I do, and I walked out the door. Well, I walked out and made a cup of coffee and left it sitting on the kitchen counter. So I called her back and told her, well, I haven't forgotten rid of it. So I stopped by the shop to make me, the coffee pot wouldn't work this morning.
Oh, no. Well, we've got one up front. Do you know how to?
I'm operating without a cup of coffee this morning, so I'm not sure how good I'll be, but I'll certainly try. Good to be with you.
Hey, good to have you here today, Bill. As you look over the community, things are really moving at this point.
Oh, there's just so much happening. I tell you, it's hard. In fact, it kind of amazes me. I listen to my other colleagues on the radio or in different places, and certainly the mayor when he comes on, standing in his stead now. They're off on our spring break, our fall break, but. Anyway, how they can remember all the things that are going on. Even our staff, it's amazing to me when I ask them a question, they have it right on the tip of their tongue, all the answers that I have often. But I have to take notes. When we reach our age, I think you have to have some notes to kind of help you. So
it sort of keeps you on the track.
It does. I need to stay in between the lines.
Now, one of the questions that has continued to come up, and I'm not sure that it's a real issue, but it's in somebody's mind, that the minor league baseball team, and the mayor has already said several times, hey, nobody's come to us about that. And I think they're wanting the city to build the stadium, which it's not a $50 deal.
No, it's anything that you do to that scale is going to be expensive, and often, when you have a proposal like that, it comes with a price tag, and building something like that on taxpayer dollars is challenging. Let's say that way. It's got to cash flow first, and that's the problem. Is that some of those issues and some of those things just don't cash flow like they think they should. So it's when that first came up, there was a lot of interest in that, people pro and con, and then the location at Cannonsburg caused some concern as to.
I think the way they presented it, they were talking about how Cannonsburg was going to disappear or something.
Yeah, well, we were going to move it or something like that. The options to do something with.
Was that ever even thought of?
I don't think it ever came to fruition. The issue is Cannonsburg needs some work. I mean, there's maintenance and things that need to take place down in Cannonsburg, and trying to sustain that treasure. Quite honestly, it was a bicentennial project, one of the few that remains in our country. So it's a special place, and to be able to maintain that and sustain that experience for our community is something that should be on the plate for consideration.
That was Tennessee's bicentennial, right? Not Murfreesboro.
Right, you're right, exactly.
Because Murfreesboro had one too.
Right, you're right.
Tennessee's was what, 1976 or was it?
I want to say 76 because it was Mayor Westbrook's was the one that actually dedicated that, so that would have been back in the 70s. So yeah, and so anyway, that project is certainly worthy of sustaining the experience that Cannonsburg provides us. But as far as the ball field, anybody knows me, they know baseball is a big part of my life. It always has been, always will be. I certainly enjoy going to baseball games and the whole opportunity that baseball provides a community for entertainment. But like I say, we have not talked. They have not come back with us. We've heard some rumors that they were going to have another presentation for us. Certainly be willing to listen to that. But, there are some challenges that I think as we got to the very genesis of this project, when it was first presented the last time, there were some concerns, particularly about cash flow. And if the taxpayers pay for it, how are they going to get paid back? And does it cash flow to where that's a reasonable investment for the community? So anyway, lots of questions, but there has not been any, as far as my understanding, there's not been, and council has never deliberated anything related to the ball field.
Now, one of the big talks for that whole area has been the bottoms, the historic bottoms.
Yeah, and as a good, I thought this morning I'd bring some pictures. On a radio program, it's always good to have some pictures.
That's right, good to have pictures.
So we ran across some pictures that were given to us of the bottoms area. And this is when Broad Street, I don't know, do you have,
hold it in front of the microphone. Yeah. There you go.
This is when Broad Street was actually being constructed, and that area down there, lots of things are taking. As we opening Town Creek to make that park and recreational experience on the other side from where Keystone is being presented, it's going to change the whole environment of that area. And so, I hope I can get a chance to share some of these pictures because, all of my life I've heard about the bottoms, but I don't know that I ever knew what it looked like. And that was an interesting, challenging place for our community too. It was, given what we're experiencing now, it was prone to flooding. There were flooding issues down there on a regular basis. My grandmother, who was the she was a city's welfare lady, Council of Social Services, and she worked a lot in the bottoms, helping people, provide resources for them that when they were dealing with certain circumstances. So there's a connection to the bottoms, but it's going to be transformed as we do some of these things. And the city has bellied up as far as doing this aesthetically improvement to the one side of the Broad Street, and I think when we start seeing Town Creek open and what that provides our community, it's going to really hopefully inspire some other people to dream dreams for that area as well.
Now, Town Creek used to be open, and they closed it up.
Yep.
During the bottoms to keep it from flooding.
Well, that was the issue. They created the ductwork and all that to be able to funnel that water instead of going into homes and going into the area and making it hard to get through that area, because connecting one side of town to the other side of town, you had to go through that part of town. So when it flooded, it was almost impossible to be able to get through there.
What is the difference now? And we've had people asking this question. If it flooded before, why would it not flood if you opened it up again?
Well, there's people that know a whole lot more about that than I do, but the plan is that it was handled how that water flows. It's not just that it floods, but where does it flood? I mean, sometimes you can't, given topography. I remember back when I was doing military geography, there were, you had to learn to read a topography map. The issue is sometimes you can't eliminate flooding, but you can channel it to go to certain areas, more productive areas, and where it would go, where it can go, and then create those kind of features, ductwork and all, to so that it can handle the amount of water that happens. But the issue is that engineers are looking at that, and we have another gold, a real treasure of our community, the wetlands that are over there where the transmitter is, and that's a real
just wildlife is over there. It's
there's just all
beautiful
kinds
area.
of things. That can be something that needs to be enhanced too, and I would think that would be a great experience. Those are going to actually be connected. What's the features that are on Broad Street, and then back to all of a sudden just the museum over there.
Oh, the Discovery Center.
Discovery Center.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I have those moments.
That's a function of me not having my coffee this morning. My brain doesn't flow. But anyway, it's such a great treasure. That facility itself is a great treasure. But the environment of that area is also something that we need to protect.
Let me ask you this, because that wetlands, the Murfree Spring wetlands, which is what it's known as,
Right.
Wasn't really there in earlier years. I mean, in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. there was no wetlands. I mean, I was there, and I can tell you it was a forest is what it was. And in the summertime, where there's water now, there was cracked ground because it was so hot. But we still had the wildlife. So how did we get a wetland out of something that was not wet?
Well, I'm sorry, I got a frog in my throat.
I didn't mean to choke you up on it.
No, it did choke me up. But anyway, no, I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't necessarily know how it did, but I would assume that probably some of the water was diverted.
Well, yeah, there was a creek there.
When Broad Street was built, it probably diverted some of that water from those areas where houses were and where infrastructure was into that area and probably created that wetlands. I do tell you this, though, and I was talking to somebody the other day about, it used to be when we were little, and some folks my age and maybe around my age would remember when we used to get on a bike in the morning and ride all day long and just maybe check in at noon, but then come home at night, but we were gone all day traveling and exploring around the community. Well, a lot of us in that particular area, we were raised in that particular area, and we would go over to the Coca-Cola caves behind
did you go
Discovery Center, and we would explore those caves. I would be terrified to let my girls do that today, but it was just like, that's just what we did. We rode our bikes over there, and we spent the day exploring those caves. And so right behind there, which used to be the Coca-Cola plant, what used to be in that area where Discovery Center is now, and we didn't think anything about it. So the structures of the geology of that particular area is fascinating, I think. And if we take that 20,000 foot view of what is possible and how that all happened, we probably needed to explore exactly what is there and what could be, a feature for
now,
our
as
community.
you went into that cave, I've heard people telling about it. As you went into the cave, did it possibly, was it a narrow opening and you squeezed in, but once you got in there, it was huge?
Well, it was not huge that I remember. It not being huge, it was more of trying to squeeze in, and there wasn't. I don't remember a particular. This was the opening that, like you'd think of a cave opening. It was more like shelves of an opening, a wide opening to where you could get in. It's been so long ago, I can't remember what I had for breakfast or that I had coffee. I'm certainly not going to remember 40 years ago.
Let's take a phone
it's
call.
more like 50 years ago.
Good morning. You're on the air with Vice Mayor Bill Shacklett.
Good morning. I was interested when you asked about what caused the wetlands, and they used to not be there. My dad always said if you fill up a sinkhole and cover it up where the water, the nature and everything goes off in there, then that causes problems somewhere else. And of course, we have lots of sinkholes and cave structures.
Oh yeah, like Bill's talking about.
The Snelltail Cave, underneath our county, and it could be that as somewhere along the way, building the houses over in Bellwood or something, got filled in, and maybe that's because that's interesting. I didn't know that the wetlands did not used to be there, and that's and now they're there. So,
There suddenly
that's a good
appeared.
point. It's almost, and it really is kind of like a whack-a-mole. You punch one down and another one shows up.
Yeah.
The issue, it's got to go somewhere. So
yeah.
it does. But I know there's a cave system in that area because, like I said, when we were children, we used to explore in that cave
yeah,
system.
that could be something got stopped up somewhere along the way in construction. Thank you. I'm enjoying it.
Thank you for listening. That was the area over behind the Discovery Center Museum,
Right.
where Black Fox came out. But you've heard that story. I'm sure it's true.
I haven't. No, I haven't
Well,
heard it.
ask your sister.
Well, we didn't need to talk.
Black
There
Fox
days.
was out there hunting, and General Jackson had a crew out there. The Indians, I don't think, lived in the area. They hunted the area. The area was too valuable,
Right.
too special. So they didn't want to mess it up by living here. They just used it for hunting. Well, they were hunting, and they saw General Jackson. And they knew that they needed to get away. So Black Fox supposedly jumped in the lake up there above, over where,
Todd's Lake?
yeah, Todd's Lake.
Okay.
Thank you for helping.
Collectively, Bart, we have one memory. We're operating on one memory today.
And Black Fox swam down into Todd's Lake through a creek underground.
Oh, my goodness.
Came out. The exit is right there behind the Murphy Springs wetlands.
I'll have to
right
ask
there
her
at the Discovery
where
Center.
did she source that so I can read
Well,
it myself?
and also if you go down behind the Discovery Center, just walk on out the back and go back. There is a marker on the spring that that relates to that story.
Well, I had not seen that.
So ask your sister all about that.
Well, she's the go-to. Phone a friend. That's what I would. That's who I would phone.
So, and it was another interesting thing. I remember we have a contract, a copy of the original contract. We rented the space where the tower is from a farmer. That was a farm in that area. And on the contract it says, the farmer said, I want to retain the right for my cattle to graze around your tower. And I'm thinking, that'd be a challenge today. Those cattle must have
Long
floats
legs.
on or
Long
something.
legs.
Long legs or the floats or something of that
That's
sort.
right.
So a lot happened. A lot of things have changed, and boy, have they. We're going to pause for just a moment, and we'll continue the conversation. Our guest this morning, our Vice Mayor, Bill Shacklett. Stay with us. We've got some interesting twists of stories. You heard about the wetlands. Who knows what we're going to get into next.
We're News Radio WGNS 100.5, 101.9, 1450. Online and on your phone at WGNSradio.com.
When I eat healthy, I can eat at Demas's. When I want to eat unhealthy, I can eat at Demas's. If I'm in the mood for pasta, I go to Demas's. If I want steak, I go there. It does not matter what I'm in the mood for. This is Peter Demas. The only thing we don't have is fried food. So it's very easy when you want to take a group out and there's that veto power person who's like, I don't want this. Well, we usually will have something that they want because we have such variety on our menu. The only thing we don't have is fried food. Demas's Restaurant on Northwest Broad Street.
Hi, this is Amanda from Animal City, and our hand-fed baby bird nursery is starting to fill up. If you are looking for your next sweet feathered companion, come in and see us. Find your next pre-loved, pre-spoiled pet here at Animal City. Be sure to check out our downstairs level. Here at Animal City, we would like to thank Murfreesboro for letting us be your family-owned and operated pet store for 33 years. Animal City is located at 919 Northwest Broad Street.
Continuing with lots of sunshine for this afternoon with highs in the upper 70s. For tonight, clear, a low of 50, and for Thursday, reaching 79. I'm meteorologist Michael Caron, News Radio WGNS. Currently 47 degrees.
I'm a single mom, and as you can imagine, it's a fight sometimes just to get out the door. But when I need new tires or something's wrong with my car, I need to head to someone I can trust. I go to Tire World.
Tire World, we keep your family rolling. Tire World, locally owned and operated.
We're loud, we're proud, we're blue. WGNS AM and FM, your home for the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders.
Welcome back. Our Vice Mayor, Bill Shacklett, is our guest this morning. If you want to join us in conversation, give us a shout. 615-893-1450. Now, don't be bashful. 615-893-1450. The birthday winter day of that delicious banana pudding from Slick Pig Barbecue. Cimarron, or the Sumerian Nelson. Sumerian Nelson wins the banana pudding from Slick Pig. Happy birthday to you, Sumerian. Doesn't come out right. I have to work on that a bit. And happy birthday to all the other folks who were called in and celebrating birthdays today. Our good neighbor today is Emily McKee. Emily receives flowers from Jenny Harrison and the family at Ryan Flowers Coffee and Gifts. Good morning, Jenny. If you're needing flowers, you need to head over to Ryan's at 117 South Academy. Nice folks over there. Bill Shacklett, as we mentioned, is our guest this morning. and we're talking about Murfreesboro, focusing on Murfreesboro. And it's hard to believe this area is exploding, continues to explode in population. And we're one of the fastest growing cities in the whole United States. And we saw some figures brought in yesterday from the University of Tennessee about the hospital's growth and things of that sort. They were talking about it's going to be 700,000 populate the county
in the future,
just down the road. So,
well, we've got a census coming. We're going to update our census here, and want to make sure everybody participates in that. There's several going to be hot and heavy here in a while, because we feel like, between the censuses, we actually don't get credit for the number of population because we're so fast growing. We want to get credit for every citizen that we have. A lot of our state tax dollars relate to state revenue relates to the population. So if we need to update that, and we're going through that process as well.
So that money is it helps us save a little bit on property taxes.
Most definitely, and especially in a growth area between census, you grow, and so the issue is just get the right number, and everybody has to participate in that. It's a relatively long process, but with fire department will be helping, and there'll be lots of things on the website, and we just hope that every citizen realizes that if you make sure that your household is included in the census, then you're actually helping raise money for that can be used for all the projects and all the services that Murfreesboro provides for you.
When will that be?
I'm gonna have to look at that. I don't know. I know it was presented to us. I want to say about a month ago, so it's probably within probably next year. I would assume that sometime next year the census will be conducted.
We heard during the last one a rather unique way of determining how many people we have. It sounded pretty accurate too. Mm-hmm. The trash can principle.
No, well,
how many trash cans are you putting out?
That's excellent. Yeah.
And so, is that holding up? Is that showing that we're increasing?
I'm sure they tweak that process every time, because you want to make sure everybody gets counted, and that's the issue. Is that sometimes even the figures that you get on a special census aren't accurate. So the issue is to try to refine that and make that just as good as a good a number as you can. And so it goes on. The process happens for a length of time. And like I say, even to our firefighters going door to door and asking people to make sure that they filled out their census. But lots of things. Everybody, it's kind of all hands on deck to make sure that we get this accurate number. But part of the big responsibility is the citizen's responsibility to make sure that when that is presented to you, or you get something in the mail, or you see it on the city's website, that you respond to that to make sure that your household is included in that census. Because thousands of people go uncounted, and those are hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars that do not return to our city because those people were not included in the census.
Now, people are sometimes afraid to be a part of it. They want to keep it secrets. And, this is you're not going to get in trouble.
It's just a number. It's just a number, and you're trying to figure out who lives in that house.
All right. Let me ask you this. We've had some people querying about the number of buildings being built over on Gateway Boulevard, which is the same as Wilkinson Pike. It's right over next to the hospital, and 2 or 3 good-sized buildings suddenly coming out. Of course, we're seeing buildings popping up everywhere, but these are significant ones. Do you have any information on those?
Well, Clary Park is the primary developer over there, and that whole area is certainly, it was zoned as a PUD, and now as it's coming into fruition, some of those areas are being asked for rezoning to get in some instances, higher building, and I think that's what some concerns are. But the issue is still, when it's closest to the residential area, there will be considerations for that, and the height of those buildings that are closer to the residential areas. But yeah, it's kind of an exciting thing. There's lots of things, restaurants that are opening over there. There'll actually be a hotel that's on the board to
Is
go.
Is that the one that we're seeing coming up right now?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure which one.
6 or so story building, 7.
I'm not sure.
Building.
I'd have to go look. Look.
Another area, which is that same general part of town that people were asking about, was specifically over next to the hospital, and they're talking about some good-sized pieces of property. Of course, the hospital's making a massive renovation in the emergency room area. We had that on yesterday. But this is across the road from the hospital, across Gateway Boulevard. There's one there, and then there's another one on down as you get a little bit closer to Thompson Lane.
Well, the fountains is actually done an expansion. They actually have a couple of other pieces of property that will be developed out there as well, and it is residential. It is also commercial. So that development is expanding as well. So yeah, that came through council not too long ago.
Okay. Another question. This one is we're stuck in that area. I think
that's okay.
This one is about the pond at Gateway Island.
Oh my goodness!
They said it keeps getting smaller and smaller. It's almost not a pond anymore.
It's a function of drought. There's all kinds of issues that cause something like that, and there's certainly people more qualified than me to be able to identify what those causes are. But
maybe that's how Murfreesboro got its water.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, it might have been, but it is. Yeah, that's been a challenge ever since it was built, because it is a function of a couple of things: how that water is feeding into from other sources, but also the function of whether we have a lot of rain or not. I mean, look around to some of the ponds, and we were traveling down to Georgia last weekend, and some of those lakes that are heading into Atlanta. It amazed me how low they are, and you think, well, we've had a lot of rain, certainly with the hurricanes and tornadoes and things that have come through. You thought, well, but it's not really the amount of a single rainfall that affects the water level of some of those lakes. It's actually the continuous long drizzle that basically feeds those water systems and helps that water level go up. So anyway, I was shocked as to how low some of those Altoona, is it Altoona Lake? I don't know what it is, but whatever, it's going towards Atlanta. We always have to go past it, and it just shocks me sometimes, because it seems like the shore is retreating every time I go down there.
And I think you're seeing that in some lakes in Tennessee as well.
I'm sure.
So in fact, up in East Tennessee, around some of the rivers that are now probably full of water. But I remember the last time we were over there, which would have been 3 or 4 months ago, they were way down.
Wow.
I mean, extremely low. As we look at Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, what are some of the things some more things the city is going to be doing to enhance the traffic flow and make traffic has always been a major issue. I don't know if it's really that big of a problem, but in people's minds, it is a major problem.
It's always been a problem. Goodness, ever since, certainly as long as I've been on council, which was back in 2002 was the first time I was on council, and traffic is just always going to be a problem. When you have a growth area like we have, infrastructure keeping up with the growth is a real challenge. But I think we've got a transportation plan, and you make a plan and then you work a plan, and trying to coordinate that with all the entities that basically fund those projects, and to make sure that those projects, not adequately funded, but are can move forward. There's a lot of hands need to touch it, and that's kind of what happens sometimes. Why things slow down a little bit is because there's lots of people that have to approve and make their input into making a plan come to fruition. State certainly is involved in it, and sometimes federal dollars. When we talk about particular funding projects, it involves all three entities. And so, trying to get ahead of that is really a real challenge. But I think we do a relatively good job given the amount of growth that we face. But I know exactly what people are saying. We all suffer the same pain. Again, like I say, I was in Atlanta recently, and I don't think I've ever been through Atlanta that there's not a traffic problem or construction going on. Well, we're getting to that same place where there's always construction going on, and there's something to be that we have to deal with. But patience is a hard word, especially when you're behind a car. But that's something that we just have to be. I remember how many people were frustrated with the bridge over Broad, and then I don't think anybody would want to go back. But now we finally have that relief, and it really is an advantage to have that bridge over Broad. And it took us a long time to get there. There's a lot of pain before we got to the enjoyment of having that bridge in place.
Something that's coming up very soon is early voting. And I know you're passionate about people getting out and taking advantage of your rights as an American. Early voting starts October the 16th. Today is the 9th, so that's about as close as you can get. 16th through the 31st. Election day is November the 5th. And it really is important for people to vote.
Well, I think, and I was talking to someone yesterday. This is probably the most consequential election. And there's lots of things. I think of my lifetime, Kennedy, Nixon, Goldwater, and the whole. There's been lots of consequential elections in the course of my lifetime, but I think this is one of the more consequential elections that our country has faced. And one of the reasons is because we're so divided. Of course, everybody, and I know everybody's doing this too. We have a conversation. Politics just seems to come up. They say you're not supposed to talk about politics and religion, and I think more people are talking about politics and religion both at these times. But Bart, I really have the thought that came to me yesterday that I wanted to share with folks. And because I was looking at some polls to kind of see where things were, and if you're into this kind of stuff, I bet every day you're checking the polls to kind of see where things are, whether they be in swing states or whatever. And I was saying, there's a lot of things that are question marks until we get to November the 5th, and no poll or no projection is going to give us a truly adequate it's settled kind of picture until we get to November the 5th. But there's one thing that I can guarantee 100%. And can you give somebody that runs for office 100% positive guarantee? I guarantee you half or almost half of our country is going to be disappointed the day after the election.
Because we're that evenly divided.
So the decision, and I tell my little leaguers that, when we're playing a ball game, I tell them there's two things you're in charge of, and that you're in charge of your attitude and you're in charge of your actions. You won't call balls and strikes or out or safe or even when you play or where you play. That's somebody else's decision. But your attitude and your actions, you're in charge of. So my challenge is to all the voters, whatever side you're on, whoever you hope wins and whoever you hope loses, think right now, what is going to be your attitude after the election? What are you going to be if you win? What are you going to be if you lose? Are you going to be open to healing or offering healing to our country, which is really what we need now? We need to find a way back to each other, to where us is more important than me, and that I isn't as important as we. Because we've got challenges. We always will have challenges. Regardless of who becomes president, there will be great challenges for us to face as we go forward as a country. And we can accomplish anything. History would prove that. We can accomplish anything if we work together instead of work against each other or look for the weaknesses in each other. So my challenge is for people that are going to vote, what kind of person, what kind of attitude, what are your actions going to be after the election, if you win or if you lose?
It's interesting as you think about that. There are a lot of people out there who are adults.
Yes.
And they're young adults. And as they look over their lifespan, especially their lifespan of being a working adult, they don't remember when times were any different from now.
Exactly.
When there was an extreme left or an extreme right, and nothing in between. And so when you say, let's get back to where people can communicate
respectfully,
they don't have a feel for that.
Right.
They don't know that in Tennessee we went back and forth from Democratic governors to Republican governors.
Yes.
And sometimes you didn't have a feeling that was a Democrat or that was a Republican.
Right.
That was their governor.
Right.
And I think we had that same feeling as president.
Well, and there's something that I've always kind of admired about my the Little League experience. There's lots of lessons for good to be a good human. That's one of the reasons I've been stuck in this role of doing this for so many years is because I think it's a great life lesson. Baseball teaches so many great life lessons. But one of the things that little leaguers do that I wish we could do it as a country. I don't know that it would happen, but I wish it could happen. After the ball game, we've all given our hearts. We've worked as hard as we can. We tried to hit that home run or make that play. But at the end of the game, regardless of what the score, go to the base, walk across the diamond, shake the hand of the person that you were competing against, and you say, good game, good game, good game. Now, sometimes you're biting your tongue. I've seen little leaguers just bite their tongue, but they know they have to say, good game. And mean it. And so I just trust that at the end of this, we can walk across the diamond, shake each other's hand, and say, good game. Now let's move on. Let's move on.
Bill Shacklett, our vice mayor, is our guest this morning. We're going to pause for just a moment, check on the traffic and weather, and we'll be right back, our final segment. So if you have a question or a comment that you want to share, give us a shout. Maybe you remember those more peaceful times when there wasn't just an extreme left or an extreme right.
Money issues? There's someone local you can talk to. Financial Coaching Radio with certified financial planner Jason Qualls. Weekdays at 4 on News Radio WGNS.
We're excited to announce that Capstar Bank is now officially a division of Old National Bank. All those friends you've made while banking here over the years, well, they're still there. And so are the delicious, warm, homemade cookies.
In Murfreesboro at 2230 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
Everything you enjoyed at Capstar, still there at Old National Bank. Old National Bank, ready to serve you.
Old National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
All right, guys, it's Scott. If you're feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out now. At Low T Center here in Murfreesboro on Medical Center Parkway, they make it easy to get your levels checked. And with their on-site lab, you'll get those results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized therapy, or TRT, for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results. And most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients with stable T levels, they also offer a convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month without the need to come into the office for weekly visits. And at Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. Yep, you can lose weight. Get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Continuing with lots of sunshine for this afternoon with highs in the upper 70s. For tonight, clear, a low of 50, and for Thursday, reaching 79. I'm meteorologist Michael Caron, News Radio WGNS. Currently 47 degrees.
Good morning. Wrapping up this wreck on the 40 eastbound off-ramp at 2nd and 4th. Also, we had 165 southbound just past Dickerson Pike that's headed a little bit slow there, trying to get down from the north for the last few minutes. Starting to finally pick up with more volume on 24 westbound up to Antioch, coming in right now from Murfreesboro and Rutherford County. Princess Hot Chicken has new items on a new menu. You can order online today. It's easy. Just type in princesshotchicken.com. Check out the menu. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
WGNS talks about all things local. It's Rutherford Issues with Brian Barrett. Weekday mornings at 10 on WGNS, AM, FM, and online.
Welcome back. Our Vice Mayor, Bill Shacklett, is our guest this morning. We're in the final segment of our broadcast. And if you have a question for Bill, 615-893-1450, 615-893-1450. And we're talking about living in one of the fastest growing communities in the nation, certainly the fastest growing in Tennessee. That has to create some challenges sometimes.
It does. It really does. But, like I said, in a fast growth, I had a relative. Now, he's passed now, but he was on what was the equivalent to city council in a town where Gloria and I were born, Twin Falls, Idaho, in southern Idaho. And he and I would chat every time we'd get together and talk about things, and he was always saying, well, there's always something going on in your town. I mean, it seemed like and it's a equivalent size. At that point in time, we were a lot smaller than what we are now, but he said there's just always something going on. He said, what is the magic dust, or what are you doing there? And I said, you know what, this is Uncle Charles and Uncle Howard. Both of them ran a jewelry store down to small business themselves. But both of them served in the equivalent of city council. And I thought about that for a long time, and I think, quite honestly, that there's a synergy in this town to where somebody has a great idea or something that should or could happen in our community, and they start to share it. The culture here is not, well, that's your idea, good luck. There seems to be a lot of people that are willing to come alongside and help somebody else realize their dream, or accomplish what they want to accomplish. Because tomorrow, I may be asking you to help me if I help you today, and that's kind of been the synergy, I think, of what has happened in our community. Why there's a lot of good things happening along with all of this growth that's happening, and it's always a challenge to maintain that, to encourage that. To nurture that, and each of us have a little responsibility on trying to keep that going like that.
Now, we've talked about the daylighting of Town Creek. Yeah. We haven't talked about coming across the street to where those car lots used to be. They're now vacant. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the location of a pedestrian bridge, is that right? Yes,
that's exciting. Yeah, there's talk about building one across Church Street too, going back to the other
wetlands
towards the Discovery Center.
So that'll be a way to get people from that greenway, from our greenway on over to the
exactly, and
boardwalk.
From the downtown to that greenway. That's the interesting thing, because of course you get to Canonsburg basically, and you connect to the whole greenway system. So that's that. I still remember, when that was first proposed, and Bertha Kritzberg and Bart Gordon and all got a lot of people together to build our greenway system. And I remember thinking that a phrase that they used when they were presenting this to us was linear park.
Park.
That sounded so strange to me at that point in time. But now that's what it is.
Yeah,
it is a linear park, and it connects different areas of our community and provides that opportunity for different areas of our community. For Riverview to connect to downtown, for all the different areas of our communities to connect with each other by walking. And I think it's been such a healthy thing for our community, and I'm glad that they had the vision. That's what you think of somebody that's a visionary. They see something that ain't there and makes it happen. And that's what Bertha and Bart Gordon and all those people that worked to have our greenway system in place did.
And they have it right on the river too, which gives you a beauty.
What a blessing. What a blessing to do that, to have that on the river.
And our river is so varied.
It is. In the area, like you say, and one of the things that I was going to tell you about, the day of night, we've got a whole new trail out at Barfield Crescent that is going to actually enhance that whole experience of the river experience. Barfield Crescent is opening a new trail, Oakwood Trail, which is in the back part. We bought, I want to say, 70-something acres. Yeah, I think it was 70-something acres that added on to the Barfield Crescent Park. And Parks and Rec has created this Oakwood Trail, which is more of it's a totally different experience. It goes by the river, but it kind of goes into this land, more of a grassland experience. But it's about a 0.67 mile loop that you can go on, and that's at the back of Barfield Crescent. So I'd encourage people to go out there and experience that, and that's a whole other experience.
Is it open now?
It is open. Yeah, it's open now.
So, this is sort of a boardwalk system, or
no,
sort of a greenway?
It's a path. It's a path.
Okay. Is it along the river or just all over the area?
It kind of goes along the river a little bit, but it also goes into this new property that we bought. Like I say, it's we purchased this 67 acres or 66, something like that, acre property, and they're beginning to develop that and to enhance the opportunities to experience that. And this is another trail that you can go into. So at Barfield Crescent, there's all kinds of trails in Barfield Crescent area, and I'd encourage you, families and all. It's a nice walk. It's a different kind of walk than the other trails that you would be at Barfield Crescent. So I'd encourage you to go experience it.
That whole place over there is
beautiful.
A wonderful place. We're really lucky to have the Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation Department. They have done a wonderful job of creating green space, walking space, exercise space for all ages.
It amazes me. In fact, I was just talking with Nate yesterday. Nate Williams, our director of Parks and Rec, and and again, all these things are on the top of his head, and I'm sitting there. I said, "You're gonna have to slow down, Nate, a little bit. I'm writing notes." But Old Fort Park, that whole Old Fort Park experience is being enhanced. So many good things. Our golf course out there has just had a whole overhaul and renovation. It's open again now, so people can go out there and enjoy the Old Fort Golf Course, which is certainly a gem for our community. We're renovating some of the tennis courts there. There's going to be 6 pickleball courts and 6 tennis courts. New surface, new lighting, LED lighting out there. There are new sidewalks around it. It's going to be really wonderful. And I think they said, I wanted to give you an idea when it was going to be open. Mid-November.
Mid-November. So that'll be here before we know it.
It should be open. So that's just wonderful. And then also I heard yesterday, which I didn't know this, is that they're going to renovate the ball fields there, the parking. There's some flooding that happens over in that area. They're going to address the flooding with some improved drainage and parking at Old Fort Park. But also they're going to put a turfed baseball field there. So that people can rent and use, and I think that's going to be a neat little. So if you're doing some kind of game, you can use that park as well.
Bill Shacklett, our Vice Mayor, has been our guest this morning on WGNS Murfreesboro.